Okay, now I am on page 2 of Ashes, and Ashes is the third installment of Dreadful and Electa. And I don't number my issues. This is a 4 issue miniseries, tentatively. Maybe I might make it a little longer. I don't know, but it's for right now. It's 4 issue miniseries. Again, all C.M. Eddy Jr.'s works. But I didn't number my issues because I wanted readers to be able to jump in on whatever issue they picked up. So if you notice, if you picked up my books, you'll notice that none of the issues have any numbers. And actually, I just put the second issue, Dreadful and Electa, The Better Choice, up on the website, poormanspress.com. I put it up today, so now I've got the second issue up there, and obviously I'm working on Ashes, the third one here. But yeah, either way, you can just jump in at any issue, and they're all self-contained stories, which is I really liked because it's a good way for me to learn how to tell a story sequentially. And the comics medium is breaking up these taking these short stories and breaking them up into what averages out to a 24-page comic book. Now this panel that I'm working on here is the first panel for the second page. And we have our main characters sitting down in front of a kind of a bay window with the rain trickling down the window at night. Just getting settled in to tell us what's going on in the rest of the story here. Sometimes I allow myself to make mistakes, and sometimes I force myself to make mistakes. Sometimes using tools that I'm not really used to. So see where it takes me. And I think one of the most important things I can take away from any project is how to get myself out of trouble. Because I feel when I'm painting, all painting for me really is problem solving. I'm constantly solving problems, and that's what I'm finding here with comic books, and is I'm constantly we're just creating problems for ourselves to solve. But and that's the not I wouldn't say fun, because I don't think I have fun making art, whether I'm painting or making a comic, but it's very challenging and at times can be satisfying. But I want to talk about some influences for the comic book, and coming from painting and finding inspiration in painters, from the Renaissance and then from some contemporary painters as well. I just wanted to talk about some of the influences that I took in while right before and during making my comic, and I tried to bring a little bit of what I do in painting into comics, and then I'm also looking forward to see what I can take from comic books to to back to my painting when I go back there, whenever that is, because so much time is spent on this comic, and I have really little time as it is. I mean, as it is right now, I'm recording this at 12 a.m., but, the way it is. So, one of the painters that I want to talk about is Jerome Whitkin, and this is his book here, Life Lessons: The Art of Jerome Whitkin. And I can't really recommend this book enough. He, these are little pictures of panels he's done, and these are three panels in the one painting, and he's really well known for his work on the Holocaust. Giant triptych paintings of scenes from the Holocaust. And the first time I even learned about Jerome Whitkin was I went to Monterey on I think on a weekend trip to Monterey, or maybe the day trip, maybe a day trip. And at this time, I was trying to kind of, push my art out a little bit more, get it seen more. So I went into a gallery, and I just to introduce myself and see what it takes to be included in a gallery, be represented by a gallery, and because okay, so I had to stop the recording for a little bit there because my littlest one just woke up and needed a diaper change. 12:30 is about the time he wakes up. 12:30. So, anyways, I was talking about yeah, I went to a gallery in Monterey to see about possible representation or what they look for. Because at that time I was like, well, you do some paintings, and I was thinking, well, the next step is you try to show off those paintings and getting get in a gallery. And I know there's lots of artists that don't believe that gallery representation is worth what a lot of people say it is, and some people do say it's important to be represented by a gallery, but I don't know. I still don't know. So, anyways, I was talking with the the owner of the gallery, and then we got to talking about the East Coast, and then he I don't remember how we ended up on it, but he mentioned a painter by the name of Jerome Whitkin, and so I'm really glad I forced myself to go into to that gallery and talk to the owner, but because I mean his work is just amazing. I mean, you take this piece here, which is entitled "Unseen and Unheard: In Memory of All Victims of Torture." And I think this one had something to do with the treatment of political dissidents in Latin America. I think in the 80s, that that had something to do with the he found some inspiration for that painting from what was going on in politics back then. He's very heavy into politics, commentary, political commentary in his paintings. Um, but one thing I did really take from him is because he really focuses on the human condition, and there's not so many that I know of, not many artists that I know of, in my opinion, that can really capture the suffering of humans. And I don't think anyone living now, contemporary, um, that I know of, that I've seen, does it better than Jerome Whitkin. And a little quote from his book, Life Lessons, he even says, because Life Lessons has a lot of excerpts from his journals. You can see kind of his thought process in the paintings that he created. Anyways, one of the quotes he the display from his journal is our contemporary sacred event is to show how we are, how we live, how we hurt. So I really took that to heart because before I found Jerome Whitkin, I really was just kind of painting landscapes and doing some figurative paintings, but nothing that really that I connected with. Um, and then learning about Jerome Whitkin, I learned about another artist that heavily influenced me, and that's Katie Kolvitz, which I'll probably talk about later. But she also had this amazing ability to showcase the human suffering, the human, of the human condition. So she had some amazing etchings and drawings, and she was a German expressionist. But yeah. So going back to Whitkin, and Lord, focusing on human suffering, and that kind of crept into The Love Dead, which is the first Dreadful Intellect, the comic I made, which is my favorite story that I'm adapting from CMED, but it really does have a taboo topic of necrophilia. But taking the lessons I learned from Jerome Whitkin to that story, to me, in the end, the story was more about how different could someone's life have been if people had just, you know, took taken an interest in this person's life, and instead of ignoring this person and casting him aside, and it's like maybe this person's the main character's life would have been turned out better if he wasn't such a social pariah, and people blamed him for looked down upon him because of what his family did, the sins of his family. So um, kind of gave me a different perspective and kind of a um, a focus from after that, because after that I really just focused on making paintings of events that really affected me pretty deeply. One of the paintings I did was about the U.S. and Mexico immigration um, policy. If you've been to my website, poormansart.com, it's entitled "I Want to Go Home with the Armadillo." So, and that really had painting has to do with the young girls who from Central America who are trapped between gang violence and the difficult U.S. immigration policy. They're the ones to me that they're one of the biggest victims because if they stay, they'll get abused by the gangs or put in dangerous situation with gangs in Central America and come to America try to get in, but they risk a lot just traveling, and there's no guarantee of getting in. So and they end up just going into those camps and sometimes heading back to to Central America. So I started to view the world differently, or maybe just focus on certain things that weren't important to me, or maybe not important, but that I didn't see in a certain way. But you know, so it's kind of hard to explain. But it gave me a little more direction, learning about his artwork and Katie Kolbitz as well. Um, but the another artist that influenced me, the, he's a comic book artist, and he's influenced me in the past. But recently, I found some information or some interview is the issue Amazing Heroes number 102 from September 1986, and I found it by way of the Kayfabe, the cartoonist Kayfabe YouTube channel. And I really recommend anybody who's interested in sequential order comics to go check them out. A well of inspiration there. But during this interview, he says some pretty interesting things that I connected with, and as far as bringing in influences outside of comics. So one of the comments he made was, I would say that I would hope that art outside of comics has more influence on my work than art within comics. And an interviewer says, well, how so? And Mazzucchelli goes on to say something like, here it is. But I think you find that the people who are doing the most interesting work have some kind of wider range of experience to draw from. They're not just trying to do comics that follow all the patterns we've seen in the last 20 or 30 years. And I found that really interesting because, this is exactly what I was trying to do. And trying to see what I can bring from painting, from fine art, and into sequential comics. Because I think we do, because when I started, trying to draw comics, I was drawing the comics that I read. I was trying to copy artists that I really enjoyed, but it's normal, right? Emulating artists you enjoy. But then I began to ask myself, well, what else can I do that's me, more unique? So I did stuff like this, where it's a departure from representation, and trying to illustrate the emotion within characters instead of what we see on the surface. Well, here we go, making a little bit of headway in panel one.